It helps everything mentally, emotionally, physically. When you're able to come home and kick your shoes off, have a space for them, you're not tripping over things, and you're able to just sit down with your family or sit down with a book. Like you truly feel comfortable and welcome and at ease in your home. And so many things and, items in your home, it becomes overwhelming. And all you can focus on is that in the moment. And a lot of my clients are ADD and ADHD. So in that moment, their minds are already going so much. Their home is just everywhere. And it's like, how do I focus on this? Because this is not only affecting my relationship with my spouse, my relationship with my children, my workspace. I need something that's going to be simple yet functional. And as we had just discussed, the functional part, everybody's functional is different. Like you said it beautifully, like not everybody's perfect. Aesthetically pleasing for everybody is different.
What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. This is fun. I love days like this because it reminds me of how human everybody is.
Yes,
And
agreed,
that
110%. Yes.
yeah, and that I cuss on here, shit happens
Yes.
and we just keep moving forward.
Exactly. That's life. Shit happens every day and we just
Shit
keep moving
happens.
forward. Yeah.
Yep. So that's how we're going to start today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Shit happens.
Shit happens.
um So I'm with Tiffany Sommers, and she is a professional organizer. And can you tell myself and the listeners a little bit about who you are and why you think you are who you are?
Absolutely. So yes, I'm Tiffany Sommers. I'm a Colorado girl born and raised. I live in Sarasota, Florida now. We've been down here about 2.5 years. Who I am is a person who wants to help others. And that's really been my drive since I was a kid, honestly. And helping others, it gives back to them. It gives to you. It keeps that good karma circle going around. I'm really big about that. Like, do unto others as you would want done to you. So that
Yeah.
aside, I started organizing after teaching special education in the public school district, and I loved it. I loved my kids, but I felt like there was always more. And I started organizing on the side, and I fell in love with it. I felt like, you've been given this gift to do something different, to help people in a different way. And so, yes, I started helping students, their parents in their homes, in classrooms. At the end of the last few years of teaching, I would start in the middle of the summer getting classrooms ready for teachers because everything was on point. And you can imagine a special education classroom, we have to have everything in a quick grab. So that's why I am who I am and what I do. It's a beautiful thing to help others. And I love to organize. I love to see everything not only aesthetically pleasing, but most importantly, functional. And you'll ask people what's functional. It's different for everybody. My seniors versus young families versus my bachelors and bachelorettes and, people with just maybe themselves in their home. It really depends on what's going to be functional for them and what's going to work. But I love to go in and meet people, chat with them, and then see the unique finds I find in homes. I mean, things sometimes that I'm like, wow, I remember this as a kid, or I didn't realize anybody still had one of these. So it's a really neat thing to be in people's spaces and get to know them and why they do what they do.
Yeah. This is really awesome because I'm in the health space and I'm not in the health space in the way that I shouldn't say everybody, but what most people seem to be like, diet and exercise. I'm in the, take care of your surroundings. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you pampering yourself? Are you in good relationships? So all of the things. And do you have a healthy relationship with food and exercise? Not just what can I restrict today? So all that said, I really think that decluttering is so good for the mind and mental health, because it works both ways. Like when your space around you is not perfect. For the listeners, I want to clarify, not perfect, but when
Hmm.
it's organized in a way that your brain can process it, it cleans up your mind. I think I'm saying this correctly.
Hmm.
So like a organized spaces, your mind isn't as messy. And it works the other way around. Sometimes your mind is messy and it shows up in your spaces. And so I love that you're here. And so, all that said, my next question for you would be, how has helping people organize not just help with like having things like in their space, right? How do you
Hmm.
think it's helping them mentally? And then in turn,
Um,
like helping their health?
it helps everything mentally, emotionally, physically. When you're able to come home and kick your shoes off, have a space for them, you're not tripping over things, and you're able to just sit down with your family or sit down with a book. Like you truly feel comfortable and welcome and at ease in your home. And so many things and, items in your home, it becomes overwhelming. And all you can focus on is that in the moment. And a lot of my clients are ADD and ADHD. So in that moment, their mind's already going so much. Their home is just everywhere. And it's like, how do I focus on this? Because this is not only affecting my relationship with my spouse, my relationship with my children, my workspace. I need something that's going to be simple yet functional. And as we just discussed, the functional part, everybody's functional is different. Like you said it beautifully, like not everybody's perfect. Aesthetically pleasing for everybody is different. And,
Mm,
people can look at it online and say, oh, I want the home edit. And it's like, it's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. The ladies there have nailed it. But it's so precise that if you have small children, keeping up with those things can be daunting. And, when you're coming home to a space that's just chaotic, your world's chaotic, you find yourself leaving your house, going out to dinner, shopping. That is your therapy because your home is not a welcome and warm space. So to help people in that manner, by decluttering and purging, it's going through and really asking, what is truly meaningful? What do you want? And what do you see? And that's what's different for everybody. I mean, I have my, seniors whose functional is having vitamins and pills right on the counter to see, where my younger families, they don't want anything on the counters and they want to see those, beautiful granite or quartz countertops that they got. But again, it's different for each person, but everything we do in our lives is just one big circle, if you will. So what we have going on at home circles into work, circles into our children's life, circles into our church life, whatever, that space may be, hobbies, etc. And when you buy stuff for hobbies and then you can't find the time to do them because you're searching for things all the time, it takes away our joy of doing those things that we love. And that's, becomes pleasure to us.
yeah. And I love that you've said a couple times now it's different for everyone. Like I have a
Mm-hmm.
perfect example of that. My mom is messy. She's not dirty, she's messy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very well, I used to be a clean freak before my son was born, and we know how
Mm-hmm.
how that goes once you have kids.
Yes. Yep.
Um, but I I will, for example, load my dishwasher a particular way because
Mm-hmm.
I want to get as much in there as I can before I
Mm-hmm.
start it so that I'm saving water. My mother, and I hope she's not going to get mad at me for saying this, she'll jokingly tell people that I yelled at her once for not putting her dishes in the dishwasher correctly. And so it's funny. Like she'd probably laugh.
Ah, moms.
Yeah. But it's a reminder that we're all so different. Like you stay in your zone. Like you can give tips and stuff to people if they ask for it, but you can stay in your zone because your version of organized and decluttered is going to be completely different than the person next to you,
Mm-hmm.
specifically
Absolutely.
moms.
Mm-hmm. Specifically moms. Exactly. Well, and, we watch
Yeah.
what they do growing up and we do things similar, but then we also develop ways in our home that are quicker and maybe better for our kids, our spouses, our spaces. And so it's kind of funny that dynamic with mom because it's like she watched from her mother, our grandmothers, that this is the way you do it. And nowadays things are so different and things make things a lot easier and simpler to do it. So it's kind of funny. It's like no way is wrong. Just everybody goes about it in a different way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I know my mom's history. Like her mother was a perfectionist, so everything was perfect. She had the plastic thing
Mm-hmm.
on the white couch, like
Mm-hmm.
whew.
Yes.
And so my mom's messiness is not she always calls it an organized mess, and that's exactly what it is. She has little projects probably in every room of the house, and they're just organized messes. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that's how she likes to do it, and she's a rebel. So
Hmm.
she's
Yeah.
probably like secretly rebelling against her mom and her perfectionism. So
Right, of course. And
yeah.
it doesn't have to be perfect. Everybody's space is just what's going to be uniquely theirs, what works for them. And a lot of people too, like, clients always ask me, do I need to spend a lot on product? No, like we can get creative with what you have. We can, stay within your budget. I love getting creative because it really changes up the whole dynamic in space. Like, for example, I had this senior here a few weeks ago. She had the old school, like Folgers coffee can, the old tin one. Well, she needed something to keep all of her big utensils in. So she went out, she had some yellow spray paint, she painted it yellow, put her utensils in it. And it was just such a beautiful way of like not only this craft and hobby of hers, because she loves to paint, now is a multifunctional, tool in her house and then holds this. And she's got cute little sunflowers on her wall. So it just came together so nicely. But I think people have to remember too, you do not have to break the bank in product. We don't even have to buy anything. And again, it's uniquely you. If it makes sense, your shoes are here, that's great. If it's long, not this is not a tripping hazard for anybody walking in, that's what we want. We want things to just be uniquely you, uniquely organized. And, as my saying goes, everything has a place. And it's the absolute truth. And finding that place in that space that's going to be right for each person is very different and very unique. But that's what makes my job fun, because not every person's the same. And I love that about people. Not everybody's the same. So to come in their homes and hear their stories, it's a beautiful thing. My clients that are widowers here, it's heartfelt to me to be able to have that space to come in and share their stories and go through their experiences with their husbands, wives that are no longer here. And it's a beautiful thing that they share with me and are open. I love people opening up to me. I'm
Mm,
just I feel like a very comfortable person to talk to, and I love when clients feel that way, and I bring that good energy into their home. That's the big thing too, is energy. You've got to come with the good,
yeah.
because if you're coming with the negative bad, I don't want those clouds near me. So
I will definitely second that. I enjoy talking to you already, like from the beginning when you're like,
oh, thank you.
hi. Yeah.
Good, I'm
Uh,
Tiff. I'm just here.
um,
So
so was there like a specific time when you were like, oh, I kind of like, were you always super organized, or was there like something that happened or
no, I've
come
always
about?
been, yeah, like my parents, like my room used to have everything had a place. I'd sit things up in their spaces. Like I'd know if something moved, kind of probably a little OCD. But even when I was a kid, I'd rearrange my room probably every 3 to 4 months just to make the area feel fresh. And as a little girl, to be moving around her furniture, but it felt good to me. It felt like a refreshed space, a new space, and everything had a place. And it's cute because when I travel, and I still do this with my husband this day, we get there, and even if we're staying just a night, I'll put stuff in dresser drawers and I'll put stuff away and hang things up. And it's kind of ridiculous and it's time consuming, but for me, it helps me feel settled. It helps me feel grounded. And I think that's one of the things that I want for my clients when they get home and walk in the door. They feel grounded. They feel at ease. They're loving on their pets. They're with their children, maybe by themselves, putting on their favorite, music station or TV station, whatever it may be, to feel at home. And so since I was a kid, I've just really always had that drive that everything has a place and everything's set up neatly. And it makes finding things so much easier. I mean, on average, we spend about a week and a half a year looking for items. A year. And it's like, my goodness, you think about all
Mm,
these years, a week and a half, that's a lot of time in your life just searching for something. And it's like, no, I don't want to have to do that. I don't want my clients to have to do that. Like, everybody's, what they keep in store and hold on to is uniquely different. But I think we could come up with a way that's going to be satisfying for them. Also, it's going to make it easy so they can sit down and paint or work on their miniatures. Or I had a gentleman that built cars. So he built all these little miniature cars and set them up. And it was such a beautiful thing, but he couldn't even find his glue. And it's like, okay, let's set this up where every little thing is lined up for you. That way it's all set here on this table. And it gives them that space to take himself away, if you will, and like people read.
yeah,
I mean, everybody's got their hobbies.
yeah. And it again, it goes back to taking the clutter out of your mind.
Yes, exactly. And it all circles around. It's the same thing. Like if things are lined up in your homes, and I tell people when you're sitting at your desk, put the most important thing next to you and then line them up like it's like say you were reading from left to right instead of stacking, because a lot of people assume stacking helps. it's not the best if you can see them laid out. Like if you can see my desk right now, I have the most important thing here on right to my right, and then everything else down my desk of what's most important, what needs to be done last. And it just really helps a visual. And I think people forget how much visually appealing things can be and how distracting they can be.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um,
Yeah.
I remember when my son became of that age where the toys were all over the house, it was like
Mm-hmm.
I would freeze. I wouldn't know what I mean, his toys are organized now, but and he
Mm-hmm.
likes to organize them. I don't know if
Oh,
it's like
yay.
watching
Good.
me
I
do
love to
it
hear it.
or
Yes.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he loves organizing things. He's 7 now, so it's his organization is different now than before, where it would be like, I'm going to organize these things by color, or
Mm-hmm.
so it's fun to watch. But going back to like the beginning, going from clean freak to having a kid with toys all over my house, I
Mm-hmm.
froze. I didn't know what to do,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, sometimes getting that outside help, um, yeah.
It's a big deal. And it's funny because like a lot of times when I'm hired in, the husbands are like, my wife can do this, she doesn't work. Or it's like, yes, but she's taking care of 4 kids, and she's running a household, and there's so many more things. As well as like I've been trained in this, and as many people as I've worked with over the years, things just get better and better and better because I come up with a quicker and efficient way to do it. And to explain that to clients, it takes that burden away. And it's kind of interesting because people have people come and do services for them, lawn service, cleaning, their house, doing laundry for them, things like that, that take that stress off of you so you get to enjoy life more. And I look at it too as then you're helping somebody in their business, and I get that a lot from
Mhm.
husbands where at the end of the project, oh, they're happy as can be. And I kind of giggle because it's like happy wife, happy life. We kind of joke about it, but it's like realistically, I've taken all this stress off your wife. So that gives you guys more time for date nights. Your children are more focused when they get home to do their homework. And it's cute when you say your kid, how he had started to where he is now. They're constantly learning and growing. And at a young age, it's colors and shapes where he was organizing by that, where now it's probably knowing as I'm a first grader. I'm assuming. Is he a first
Second
grader?
grade, second
Second
grade.
grade.
Yeah.
Okay. So it'll be 8 years too. So yeah. So that for him as he grows, and I teach children to start young with it, because if you teach your children when they get home to have a place for their backpack and to pull things out of their backpack and maybe put their lunch pack away, and teaching them those things at a young age makes it such a huge difference. They get older. I mean, I tell, my clients with older kids that are going off into the dorms, I'm like, they're not going to be that roommate, that roommate that we had to all co in the room and you felt like you needed like a plow to get in because it's like, oh, sorry about my roommate kind of thing. But it's funny, but it's again teaching kids at a young age and doing it in a fun way. So I do it in my classroom a lot, and kids looked at it like it was a fun game. And I'm thinking if we create that space and change that directive and change that mindset to be this is fun and this isn't a chore, it starts them at a young age and it continues through. So I love with your kiddo that he's still doing it, and I don't blame you for freezing because you walk in and you see these big toys and parts and little tiny things. And it's just like, it's so overwhelming, like Barbie shoes and Legos and everything you're going to catch your feet on, you'll catch it on, but it's just,
Oh yeah.
you freeze. It is overwhelming. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love what you were saying about teaching them young because I'm constantly reminding myself and other people that we're not raising kids, we're raising grown adults.
Yes.
Um,
Amen.
yeah. So we're teaching them how they're going to be when they grow up and they don't have us there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely. And it's an important thing. I mean, it's like teaching a kid how to balance a checkbook, which is almost kind of silly now because we write so few checks. But when we were growing up, that was a big thing. And so to teach them, it's these life skills, if you will. And people look at it as like, oh, organizing, it's fancy. I don't know. And it's like, it's not though. Like it doesn't have to be fancy. It has to be functional. It's got to be right in
mhm,
your home. It's got to be right for you and your family. And I tell people too, like when it comes to cluttering and purging, have 3 baskets in your home, no matter where it is. And it can just be a simple basket or box, old box from an Amazon purchase, or, a little laundry basket from Dollar Tree. It does not have to be anything expensive, and have it as a maybe, a giveaway, and as a keeper pile. And that way, when you go through, you have these boxes or bins or whatever to put things in. And as soon as the giveaway thing is full, take it to a donation site. And that's a really big thing about my business is I love to give back to our community. There are so many people in need, and as many storms that we've had here, people have nothing. And so to help these families, whether it be young families needing, children's clothes or shoes, or a woman getting out into the workforce and getting a job, for the first time and needing that, professional outfit. It's so good because it is true, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So to give these things back to our community is huge. Now, people say, if they ask me specifically to drop off at a Goodwill or a Salvation Army, of course I will. I'll do whatever my client, wishes. But in the majority of the time, it's like, give it to somebody that's going to need it. And there's so many, as with having a young son, that he grew out of things probably so quickly before he even probably was able to wear them. And so to give back to our community and these children in need, it's a big deal to me. And it's very heartfelt that we turn, the trash into treasures for others.
Yeah. You just gave me this idea. I don't know why it popped into my head, but our last organizing project is our garage. Most of it is just like recyclables, like mountains of recyclables that we just haven't taken in. But I was thinking, like, we were planning on doing a garage sale, but what if we had a garage sale and just gave everything away?
Yes.
That'd be so cool.
Absolutely. And people are starting to do that. They've got a thing this weekend called the Purge, depending on weather here, but it's like everybody shows up, drops stuff off, and then everything is taken and no money is exchanged. And it's just a way to get back to our community, because oftentimes, and we've all done it, where we buy more than one. We find that shirt we like, we buy it in every color because it fits and feels good. But after a while, maybe we didn't use it. I mean, things like that, decorative items, people's taste is constantly changing. They want different things in their home. They want to refresh. And it's like, you can do it in an easy way and then give what you bought and maybe not need or want to someone else. So it's a great way of that. You got the karma circle. You also have the treasure circle, and it's just coming around to everybody. And it's a beautiful way to give back to people that are in need.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so gonna do that.
Awesome. I love it.
In my garage.
Yay, I love it. And yeah, recyclables, it's funny you say that, because that's a lot of my clients that go out and I'm like, oh, it seems like so much. We'll take before pictures. And then after my team and I are done, I'm like, well, the majority of it was just boxes to recycle from Amazon. And I'm like, all right, easy peasy, but it gets them out of their space and teaches them a way to, like, stack them up, or put, a box cutter right near the door. And I've taught a few wives, because I'll walk into their garages and I get something from Amazon and I throw it out the door. And the boxes just pile up, so that we can't get the car in. The kids can't get to their bikes, their skateboards, scooters, whatever it may be. And so it's like just keeping a box cutter right near the door, put it out the door and you're done. And it makes it so much easier versus just throwing in the box pile. So
a box cutter and a can crusher.
Yes, a can crusher too. Yes, absolutely. Something for it to all go in. Yes, a can crusher for sure. And those are just fun. If you've had a hard day, smash it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So yeah.
So I want to take like a hard, let's go right.
Okay.
So because this is still a podcast of stories, do you have a story from your life where you had like a mindset shift, or like your entire world changed because of the specific event that happened, or maybe just something you were doing where you went, oh yeah, like, do you know what I'm talking about? Something that totally changed your life.
Oh man. We've had some big moves. So in 2016, my husband's company relocated us from Colorado to Austin, Texas. That was one of those moments where I had never left home. Born and raised Colorado girl, went to school only 4 hours west of Denver. Like, family was far enough, but close enough. That was a big moment in my life that life completely changed, because you're in this bubble. You're in this comfort of, where everything is, everybody, you're in a routine, if you will. And it was a scary thing, because I'd never moved away from home, and I was 32, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's like, it was the first time where, like, my husband had been in the military and traveled the world. And so for him, it was like, all right, let's go. No big deal. Where for me, it was like, I kind of froze, because I thought, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. And you have all of your things here, and how do you move? And so that was a big point in my life, and a pivotal moment that really made me realize where I stand in this world, what there is to offer, and knowing that I needed to go and spread my wings. And it was just such a big moment for me to pause and think, okay. And like, there was that paralyzation of like, what next? And this is scary. And how do I even pack a home? And what do we bring? And what do they do that in Texas? Is that a thing? And it's so silly, because it's like, of course there's grocery stores and haircut places there, but your mind goes into that like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, like, is there going to be vets for our dogs? And I'm thinking, God, how stupid, it's just another state. But it was just a moment in my life that really, it defined me. It opened me up to so many things in this world, that there is so much that people can offer and so much to do to help others, and to just take that leap. So I just want to tell people, when they're in that moment and they're so incredibly scared and they're in that paralyzation mode of like, what next? Go with it. It's going to be a beautiful thing. You've come to this door for a reason. You need to open it and just jump in it. And don't get me wrong, it's not always easy. I mean, it was a hard first probably year and a half to get settled, because you know no one. You're trying to start up a business. You're trying to think, what can I do to even make friends? And we all know as we get older, making friends is hard. It's not like in our, teens and our 20s, even in college, like you're friends with everybody and you hang out with everybody. When you get to your 30s and 40s, you're a little selective, like who you bring into your home, who you bring into your life. So that was a little scary, but the people I met along the way have helped me grow, helped me become the person I am. So I would say to anyone out there listening, take the leap. No matter how scary it is, no matter how set you are in your routines and your everyday structure of your life, take that chance, because it's been offered to you. It's something telling you, whether it be God or whatever your beliefs may be, something is pushing you in a different direction. And why is that? So that's probably the biggest pivotal moment in my life. That was life-changing for me. And then when we came to the move down here 6 years after being in Austin, it was like, okay, again, a little nervous, but it was like, let's do this. Like, we did so well the first time and we're so settled. And I remember family and friends saying like, oh, we assumed you guys would come back home and you wouldn't want to do this. And it's like, oh, I'm happy. I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to be here the last 2.5 years and to meet the people I've met and to help the families that I have. It warms my heart. So I say, if you get to that door, jump, just do it, because there's going to be something so amazing on the other side that you can't even fathom for yourself. And I didn't realize at the time moving to Texas that I'd now be a professional organizer here in Sarasota, Florida. Like, it feels like, they pinch me. Like, is this happening? And to be talking to extraordinary people like yourselves and be on a podcast, I never assumed anybody ever even want to talk to me. So I can't tell you enough how good it feels to want to hear about me. Seriously, it makes me feel really, really good. So thank you. And I just, if you get to that door, people, jump, do it.
Yes, I'm going to second that. Definitely. So when you guys moved to Florida, did the company move again, or was that something else that happened?
This time it was with the same company, but he had an opportunity. His boss was always really good to ask us if we wanted to move, because we unfortunately didn't have children. So he always knew like we were up for a different opportunity. And moving with young kids is possible, of course, but there's a lot more factors go into it: school districts, neighborhoods, etc. Where my husband and I and our dogs, it's like, let's just go, we'll figure it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the second time was an option for us to move down here. And it was like, okay, let's do it. And you get to these, again, those doors that it's like, okay, we're going to go right or left or straight. What are we going to do here? And so we went straight through it, and I've just been incredibly happy to be here and to just meet the people I have. And here, it's very unique because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, but I love to hear why they do what they do. I mean, I have nurses that start out as nurses and are now doing mortgages, people that were doing mortgages and are now in the healthcare and senior Alzheimer's field. Like, it's just like, wow, how and why? Again, that door was opened and people took the leap of faith.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for having me. Seriously, like I said, it feels really good. I appreciate it immensely. So
yeah, and I do. I genuinely mean I enjoy talking to you. You're easy to talk to. So
oh, good. Oh, Katie, back at you. I feel really good when I hear that, because I have clients telling me just stories, and I'm like, wow, and they're like, I've never shared that with anyone, and it's like, I'm glad you did with me, because as I go through your scarf, through your things, it opens my eyes. And then I have the things that I find that I'm like, oh my, like teeth still get me by surprise when I find them. It's like people keeping their kids' teeth or their wisdom teeth for luck, and it's like every time those wisdom teeth, man, like that bloody root on there, I'm like, oh, gross. But then I'm like, hey, to each their own. Like, these are keepsakes, and I put them in the like keepsake box. But it's nice. It's nice to have people open up to me and be able to share those things with me and to feel comfortable with me going through it, because I'm up in people's stuff, and people that, all of us, that we hide stuff because that's nobody's business to see, paperwork or things in the bedroom or children's stuff. That's no one's, to be having anybody's eyes on. it's my everyday, and I love it. And I tell Hannah, who worked for me, I tell her too, we go about it in a very respectful way in their homes, that these are their things, their keepsakes, and we want to make sure that they're comfortable and happy with us there. So I love when they open up and tell me stories, and just want to sit there and chat. But I always have to keep in mind too, like, okay, I'm working. You're not
Yeah.
paying me to chat with you. I got to get back to it. But it's always nice at the end of the day where the clock ends and we sit down on the couch and just chat and just get to know them. And it's a beautiful thing because I love people and how they are so uniquely different from one another.
I love that. If you were in California, I would hire you to help me with my garage.
Oh man, I do travel. I do travel. So yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah, I
good.
would. Oh my
Mine.
gosh. Yeah, I would love to come out and help you. And that's the thing too. I tell clients because I hear that a lot, like, oh, you're not here. And it's like, but I do travel. So there's clients that I've had that have, brought me up. A lot more people up north since I'm down here now, and a lot of people relocate to Florida. But going up there and going through, because they're going from 7,000 square foot homes to maybe a 1,400 square foot community room. And so it's like, or when I say community, but like staying in a community here, but there's smaller rooms. So how do we keep your everything, but just in a very little space? So I love it. I love that people want me to travel and come and see them and meeting their families and hearing their stories. It's a beautiful thing. So
Mhm.
I'll come and see you in California happily. Twist my arms.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I do
So
have one more question for you, and I ask
mhm.
everyone at the end of every hold on, I can talk. Hold on.
You're good. You're good.
I have one more question for you. And I ask everyone at the end of every episode, and that is if you had one piece of advice that you could give to the world, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a big one. That's a loaded question. I like that we're ending with that. Life is short. I think as the older we get, we realize these things that we have put off and put to the side, we should do now. And I understand that there may not always be the money to do it, the time to do it. People need to find it. And I say that, because I mean, everybody wants to go to Europe. Everybody wants to go see the Eiffel Tower. Is it feasible? Maybe not, but maybe something that's, close, or something that, may fill that travel bug in you. But I think at the end of the day, as we go through life, time is precious. Call those friends, call those family members, talk to your grandparents. I sadly don't have any grandparents left. So for me, I tell my husband, get in touch with your grandmother. It's important to talk to those people and hear those stories because they're resonating in us now. And as we get older, those will be in us and we'll know and have that recollection of it. Alzheimer's and dementia becomes such a big thing in our world. And it's heart wrenching because these people that once knew their whole life don't. And so I say for us to get out there and do it, see it, enjoy it, because the time is precious and it's going to go by quickly. So if you're struggling in your home, you're struggling with that job, you're struggling with your spouse, your children, figure out a way to make it happy for yourself and for others, because we don't get a second shot at this. And whatever anybody's belief is, even if there's another plane that we go to, our life's completely different. And I like to joke now that I don't have kids because my next life or my previous life, I had like 12 kids and was up at like 4 a.m. kind of thing, working on a farm. I don't know why I go there with it, but that's where I picture like, my next after, and like this life's like, no, you're going to own a business and get to sleep in. Yay, but I think at the end of the day, time is precious. Our time with family members and friends is precious. Go out there and do it. Again, when those doors open, somebody invites you on a trip that you've wanted to do forever, leap, go with it. Just live life to the fullest. Don't just be a machine and just do it every day. Live your life. Do what pleases you, what makes you happy, because we only get one time around. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's a gift that's been given to us every day.
Beautiful Beasts, Tiffany Sommers signing off. Until next time.